So welcome to the English country house. By heck, it's getting colder. So autumn is well and truly with us now. The leaves are starting to turn brown, the birds and the temperature are both heading south. It's just that time of year. So following on from the previous video, we looked at preparing for autumn, and really what that boils down to is making sure that your soil is in a suitable condition for growing for next year. So when we say we're preparing for autumn, in my view, we're really preparing for winter, and most importantly for spring. We're giving ourselves a good starting point with which to make sure that next year kicks off properly and as it should. So one of the things I mentioned in the last video is that we're trying to make the English country house pay for itself as much as we possibly can. So as part of that, we want to be selling wildflower bouquets and related products or items, if you will, that we actually grow and are part of this landscape, if you will. So we've got this sizable sort of flower bed area here. And when we moved in, we, in essence, gave everything a year to see what came up, what grew or not. And at the moment, there's basically not much has come through here. So my intention is to clear this space, use some of the nutrient bank that we touched on last time to actually then start converting all of this into a nice sort of area for growing wildflowers next year. And the preparation time is now. So as I said, nothing's really taken. I've observed it. My intention, as I say, is to put in a whole range of wildflowers. I am also working on renovating an old wooden sun lounger that I found in the grounds here for Mrs. English Country House. My plan is to renovate it, have it in the middle here, surrounded by wildflowers. It's a bit of a sun trap of an area, to be honest. So we'll do two things. One, it'll be a beautiful place if we ever get some summer in the future, to just come here and lounge and relax and read a book maybe. But also we can use it as I say, to harvest those wildflowers in the future. The intention with that as well, obviously, hopefully it will be brilliant for all the pollinators and the birds and the bees, as it were, around here, although that's something else entirely, but never mind. So yeah, onwards and upwards. So as you can see, I'm back to being Monty Don's love child, but enough of that for now. My next steps are to take the compost that we took from the nutrient bank that we did in the last episode, and then start to get it all sort of covered over in here. I've taken out as much of the sort of the weeds and other bits and bobs that were here. There's a few sort of leaves scattered around, so it looks probably worse on camera than it does in real life. And then take it from there. Once that's done, I'm then going to be laying over the sort of the weed mesh, so it will cover it over winter, as it were. So we'll get some nutrients into the ground that's got time to absorb and get into the rest of the earth, and then we'll cover that over to keep the light off, prevent any weeds sort of growing back. And then in spring next year, off it all comes, and then fingers crossed we'll be able to start our planting process. So here goes. So really here, I'm just sort of giving it an inch, maybe giving it maybe 2 inches of cover, because sometimes giving it that extra inch or two can make a big difference. Okay, so in today's video, we've obviously covered off clearing the existing bed. We haven't got all of the weeds and the sort of less desirable plants that were here, but we've got rid of most of them. We've taken the nutrient bank that's over the other side of the grounds up there, and we've brought it and we've spread around probably about 90% of it, but for the video's purpose, we've done this is sort of indicative of what you should be sort of aiming for. And then the final step to prepare for autumn, in terms of making sure that none of the weeds can sort of come through underneath, as it were, or give them any light to grow, is to get this weed membrane down. Because we live in an area that's very rural, I'm probably going to sort of heavy peg it. I've only put 2 in at the moment for indication, but the reality is I'm going to put this down quite heavily. So I will cut and chop this to cover as much of the ground as possible, and then leave it for autumn and winter. And then by next year, we'll be ready to go. Oh, that's good. So the last couple of videos, we've looked at preparing for autumn, and here at the English Country House, we are trying to do that as best as we can. We've talked about nutrient banks, leaf molds, how to sort of create compost areas and sort of breaking up into smaller areas. We've talked about the use of them on the grounds and so on. We've talked about putting the weed mesh down as well, and why we sort of look to do it, as it were, to keep the weeds down over autumn and winter to prepare for next year. Getting this preparation done now will put us into a good position, as well as yourselves. And so yeah, this is pretty much it. Helpfully, I've only bought enough for half of this, which is why I couldn't quite finish it. But I'll go onto Amazon later and buy some more, or wherever, and get some more, and then finish the job off from there. So yeah, thank you very much. So hopefully you liked today's content. If you did, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. It's a massive help to us. Thanks very much. See you soon.